Jean Balukas was the youngest person to enter the Billiard Hall of Fame when she was nominated by the BCA at the tender age of 25. There was plenty of good reason that she'd be inducted at such a young age. She won the BCA US Open 7 straight times, starting when she was a mere babe of 13. She has accumulated more titles than any woman in the history of the sport. At one time, she won 16 straight major titles. She has a high run of 34. She is unquestionably the best woman player in the history of the sport. So this morning, we're going to ask her how she managed to accumulate this incredible record. Jean, can you tell us how you started playing pool?
Well, I started on a table that my parents installed in the basement of our home back in Brooklyn, New York. And the table was actually bought to keep my older brothers at home. And I wandered down there and just started playing with them. We all got cue sticks for Christmas, and it was just very natural for me. I tagged along with my brothers doing everything, golf and tennis and stickball, and the pocket billiards happened to be one of the sports that I played with my 4 older brothers.
Yeah, you mentioned other sports that you've played, and of course a lot of people in the billiard industry don't know that you've excelled at a lot of other sports, and that you were you finished second, I understand, twice in the Superstars TV show. Can you tell us a little about that experience?
Well, I was 16 years old when I first entered the Superstars, and the first year, in 1976, I had to qualify to get into the finals. And I was there with my autograph book and my camera, taking pictures with Billie Jean King and Martina Navratilova, and I was just a little kid lost among all my idols. And everybody expected a pool player to not be an athlete. And growing up with my older brothers, I learned to do all those sports, so I fared very well out there. And I came in second 2 years in a row, and my last year I came in 4th place. But it was a very big thrill for me to be included in that company of athletes.
Having had that experience, do you ever think maybe you would have been better off making a career in some other sport?
Well, my father operates a billiard room in Brooklyn, and I always thought that if he owned a bowling alley, I would have been a professional bowler. If we lived on a golf course, or next to a golf course, I would have been a professional golfer. But it just so happened that he operates a billiard room, and I think that I could have played any sport. I don't know if I would have been the #1 player, but I certainly feel that I could have made a career out of playing golf or bowling or even tennis.
Okay, recently you've embarked on this new adventure where you play not only in women's tournaments, but in most of the major men's tournaments. As of today, you haven't won one of those titles. Do you think there's a chance that this is going to happen sometime in the near future?
Well, the sport of pocket billiards requires absolutely no strength like it does in tennis and golf. It's really a mental game. There are no physical barriers that prevent women from competing against the men on equal terms. And hopefully, as Dorothy Wise broke ground for me in the sport of pocket billiards, I'm breaking ground out there for the 5 and 6 and 7-year-old little girls coming up to say to themselves, why can't I be the best in the world like Jean Balukas tried to be? Not only with the women, but against the men. And I feel that this is really the only sport where women can get out there and compete on equal terms against the men. Talking about not winning a tournament yet, that's my next goal. I've set many goals for myself throughout my career, and if you have goals, I think that that is what pushes you. And to go out and win a major men's tournament is certainly a goal that I hope to achieve, but it's going to be a difficult one. I've gotten up to a point right now where I've beaten some of the top players, Steve Miserak and Buddy Hall and Keith McCready and Mike LeBron. These are all players in the top 15 of in the world. So I'm at a plateau right now where I'm beating some of the top players, but it's just that consistency that I need to achieve.
It must be a little difficult for some of these top male players to accept the fact that they've been beaten by a woman. How have you been accepted by the men? What do they say to you after you've beaten them?
Well, I think their friends kid quite a bit about losing to a girl, but I think after the amount of tournaments that I've played so far, I think I've gained their respect. A lot of these men have never really sat down and watched a women's match and watched how the women play. And the women have improved tremendously since I started playing just when I was 9 years old. We were very happy to run a rack of balls back then. But today, you know, the women get up there, they break the balls in 9-ball, and they run out, and they break, and they run out, and they're capable of playing extremely very well. And I think it took a little time for the men to realize that I have the skill and that I do belong out there against the men. And I think they're starting to accept me as a player.
You made mention of the fact that most of the tournaments today are 9-ball.
Right.
Do you look back with a little nostalgia and regret the old days of 14.1 straight pool?
Yeah. Growing up playing 14-1 straight pool was, I mean, that's really what I based my career on. Within the last 8 years has it been 9-ball, but I still consider myself deep down inside a straight pool player.
How have you had to change your game to accommodate the new format?
Well, when the game changed to 9-ball, a lot of the players and a lot of the fans are saying that I would not dominate the way I did in straight pool, that 9-ball is a much quicker game, it's less skillful, and I knew that I wasn't going to win every tournament I played in like I pretty much did in straight pool, but it just gave me a little bit more incentive to want to go out there and win. And I think I've done fairly well. I think I made that transition very well.
As we speak this morning, you're 29 years old. I assume that you look forward to a long career in this sport, this game. Do you think that a player's ability and his stamina and whatnot is going to diminish? Do you think that you'll be playing better when you're 45 or 50 years old, or are you going to lose a little?
I don't think so, because I look at all the top men players, and most of them are in their 30s, mid-30s, and a lot of them are still going strong in their 40s and even 50s. I think I still have a lot of years ahead to achieve the goals that I would like to achieve.
What are your goals?
Well, to continue my streak of 16 tournaments, that's something that I would love just to go on and on. I think once the streak has stopped, I think it's something that, just like my 7 U.S. Open straight pool titles, it's going to be something hard to beat. And it's nice to give the women out there something to shoot for, and also to win a major men's tournament.
We've made mention of the fact that you excel at a lot of other sports, which carries sort of an implication that there's a commonality between the various sports disciplines. And I'm sure you've analyzed this in your mind. Can you explain a little of that to us?
Well, I guess growing up with 4 brothers, and you know, I'm a very competitive person. I love to go out there and compete, and I never was much of a team person, as in basketball and softball, but more of the single sports, tennis and racquetball and golf and pocket billiards, and anything that had to do with balls. That hand-eye coordination I was able to pick up very easily.
It would be obvious to anyone watching your performance today that you've become very articulate over the years, and most of us who were around at the time can remember you coming in as a shy little girl. Can you tell how your personality and your ability to relate with the media has improved over the years?
Well, I was just 9 years old when I first played in my very first U.S. Open, and I was a very shy little girl, and I can remember a lot of the press and a lot of the media blaming my father for forcing me to play and forcing me to go to tournaments, and he always did the interviews for me because I was too shy to talk to the reporters. But I've grown up, and I think through the travels and meeting people and playing in the number of tournaments I've played, and I've matured, I've grown up, and I've learned to deal with the press and to deal socially when I'm out there on the road.
When you discuss your pool adventures with the media, particularly those who don't know much about the billiard scene, is there ever sort of an implication that women who are involved in pool might be shady ladies, and if so, how do you answer that?
Well, I think there's a certain image about pool players, period, whether or not they're men or women. And I think that's something that not only the industry, but also the players have to go out there and change if the sport of pocket billiards is ever going to really make it in the sporting world. When I tell people that I'm a professional pool player, they look at me like I didn't even know women, played the game. It's a lot of people are astonished when they hear that I make a living playing pool, and I think that's something that we all, as an industry, that we have to change the image of the way people look at pool players and billiard rooms and the whole sport itself.
Well, if we're ever to achieve that upscale image, I guess it means a lot more prize money in the tournaments, a lot more exposure on television and other media. Do you see that happening down the road?
I definitely do. I think it's only a matter of time before we get that big corporation to come in and take a chance with the sport of pocket billiards. They haven't gotten involved up until this point because of the image. And I think the women are going to have a major impact on that decision of the major corporation. And I think the women make the sport a lot softer. And the women look good out there. Not only myself, but a lot of the other top players they look good out there. I'm not embarrassed. I remember growing up, I would be embarrassed by watching the women run 2 and 3 balls and miss. But the women can shoot now, and I think it's only a matter of time before the business side of the sport, the corporations, open up their eyes and see that there is a market out there for the sport of pocket billiards.
Okay, well, I think that pretty well sums up your attitude about the sport and the industry. And if there's anybody who's going to enhance the image, it's Balukas. So thank you very much for coming in today and talking to us.